Welcome back to the channel. Today will be the first video in the Today I Learned series. I've done approximately 60 questions from the purple book, and so far I have an 80%, which means I missed 20% of the questions, which is perfectly fine. I actually really enjoy it when I miss questions because I feel like I'm learning more from the things that I miss, actually. And when I get things right, I just move on. I'm like, oh, I'll skim through the passage through the thing in the answer guide that explains why it's right, and then I'm like, I got that. And future me would have the same thinking processes as past me, which I think, but probably not, because past me last week lost this great occupational profile template and I can't find it anywhere. So past me makes mistakes and future me cannot think the same way. So things that I've learned, I take notes. These are I cannot talk about the questions in the book. You'll just have to buy the book, but I can talk about concepts that I didn't have a grasp over, and now I feel like I do. So the first one is gravitational insecurity. So these kiddos are afraid to do things where their feet are off the ground. They're afraid where they're not in an upright position, and they're afraid to even engage in normal movement. So the key here is afraid to do things where their feet are off the ground. Another thing that I've learned pertaining to myself is that I have to read each question very carefully and slowly think through the answers. I'm a very fast test taker, and things come to me really fast when I'm testing. It's like bam, 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 and then I'm not gonna say this, but I wouldn't say this about myself, but other people have said that I rush through a test, or I'm always the fastest one to get out, and they're amazed at my processing speed. But I think it's just more how that information comes. So it's just different. But I think for this test, I'm gonna sit down, slowly read the questions, make sure I really know what they're asking for, and then if that answer comes to me, I'll still go with it. I can talk it through with myself, but usually that first answer that comes to me is the one. Okay, so another thing that I've learned is you want to delete in your head all the extraneous information that they're giving you. For me, I was distracted between a difficult interaction and social, difficulty communicating and social interaction. But then there was another piece of information that looked a lot like ADHD, and I was like, oh, what's going on? But I think what you just want to focus on what's important. Okay, I also learned that when dealing with people who are suffering from substance abuse, you want to look at their leisure skills first, because that substance abuse is their primary leisure now. You want to replace that with something else. There might be other answers that make more sense, but this does make a lot of sense, actually. And then there are different assessments that I wasn't sure about. So the COPM is a semi-structured interview. It's pretty long. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes. But I've seen it done where it took 10, 20 minutes. And then the occupational self-assessment is a self-report, and that takes 10 to 20 minutes. So I guess when they talk about assessments, they mean information from the Asher book or information from the manual itself, not real life, how long it takes. Okay, mental tracking is the ability to simultaneously keep track of two or more stimuli during ongoing activity. For example, I am now recording a video, but if someone outside my balcony were to start talking, I might shift my attention there and forget that this is even happening. I don't know. Maybe a better example is you're baking cookies, you threw the cookies into the oven, and now you go to watch Netflix. And while watching Netflix, you remember that the cookies were still in the oven, so you come back to the cookies. That would be mental track. You're tracking these your activity, the cookies in your head while there's a stimuli. So Netflix, boyfriend, cat, other things would be stimuli. Okay, and then I don't think we ever touched on this in class, but conduct disorder is where the child is exhibiting very aggressive behaviors. And for this, you want to focus on attention span, social interactions, impulse control, and age-appropriate play. And there were also some things that I learned about intellectual disability. I think that's very, it's very much like I need to go look at a chart. And I need to remember that chart. Okay. From what I've noticed, usually the parents or the client's goals are probably the first thing that you should look at, or the most important thing. And that makes sense because we are very client-centered, and they should be part of the goal-making process as much as we are. Okay, next concept, work hardening. So work hardening we learned in mental health, and I cannot remember for my life, and I sold that textbook for a good amount of money. But work hardening it's intervention that's designed to simulate job-related tasks for people that aren't ready to return to the task itself. But these are simulated job-related tasks, and you eventually grade them up until they look like the actual job, and then they're ready to go back to work. Okay, I've only got a few more. Okay, this one talks about manic episodes. I missed this because I wasn't I guess I didn't talk it like all the way through. So when working with someone with a manic episode, you want to do something like backward chaining. You want to have something that's maybe 75% completed and then have them finish the rest. Having them start something or do something that's really free form, like a painting, is really hard. Doing something with fine detail, like crocheting or like pencil sketching, is really hard. So you want to have something that's very structured and that's already somewhat complete. And they'll finish that, and it's structured and it's successful. Okay, so when someone is fatiguing during their meals, I guess the extraneous factor here was that they had mild dysphagia. And when I saw mild dysphagia, I was like, oh, what is that? Thickened liquids. But no, you don't want to go to thickened liquids too soon, because that really takes away someone's quality of life. So when they fatigue during meals, the first thing you want to do is like make their meals smaller and spread them throughout the day, or just make their meals smaller unless they need some sort of diet. But energy conservation, that's a good method. Eat slow, eat slow, spread out your meals, not thicken liquids. Don't decrease someone's quality of life for no reason. And for some reason I did, and that's very unfortunate. Good thing I'm only a student. Okay. Okay. When a kiddo has behavior problems and has difficulty with social interaction, a good intervention would be like a small group where that kid can explore different kinds of play and different kinds of social interaction with other kids. Don't do anything that's too structured, and try to just increase that social participation. Yeah. Think about, I guess something good to be thinking about is the barriers, and like what is a barrier and what facilitates occupation as related to the question and as related to real life. I feel like these all the things that we've really talked about today really pertain to real life and real life practice, which, I mean, that test is simulating real life practice. So this video is really long. I'll talk to you again next time. And I will update you on the number of questions I get right each time and what I've learned. So 80% this time. I missed 3 the first day, 6 the second day, what happened there, and then 3 yesterday. And today I'm busy right now. I have to head to field work, and then I will be back soon. Not soon at all actually, but then I'll do another 20 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below if this is helpful. If it's not helpful for you, it's helpful for me, so it is what it is. I like it. I think I'm learning. I learned once from writing it down. Well, I learned once from getting the question wrong, and then I read it, I learned that, and then I write it, then I learned that, then I talk about it, then I learned that. That's 3 times as much learning as I usually get out of things. So yeah, bye.